Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to On the Grind. I'm your host, Chirag Patel, and the T is very important. We are bringing it to you live from the fourth biggest startup hub in the country, Atlanta Tech Village. This episode is brought to you by StartupDevelopmentInstitute.com. If you're looking for mobile app development, marketing for your product, or funding, please go to StartupDevelopmentInstitute.com. This live stream is brought to you by DariusHill.com. If you're looking for video production needs or video editing needs, please go to DariusHill.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the founder of Your Pie, probably one of the biggest pizza franchises that I know of, and he is a local Georgian. And Drew, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you for being on the show. And I really appreciate your time.
We're in the tech village, so
right, we're in the tech village, but we
of help.
haven't technology. Yeah. But so Drew, like I was saying, I used to work in Dunwoody, right? And down the street, you've got a location, Your Pie. I used to go there at least once a week. Love the pizza, love the format, right? But you know, I did some research. I saw that, like, you have over, 50, 60 locations, right? You said 54?
54 locations, yep.
54 locations across the U.S., California being probably the furthest out, right? You've built this brand from one store to over 50 in how many years?
We'll be 10 in April.
10.
So.
Okay, but before we get into the story and how you actually scale this business, I want to get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
Tell us, where you're from, where did you grow up, and what you were like as a young man.
Well, I was lucky enough to be a Navy brat for a time. My dad was a dentist in the Navy, so I was actually born in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
And got to move all over Navy bases until 1990. My parents relocated to North Fulton and Alpharetta.
Okay.
That's where I would say my entrepreneurial journey began. My parents started their own dental practice, and so I got to see firsthand people taking a risk. My parents taking a risk, getting out of something that was safe and what they were used to, and start a business. And
so they started their own practices under their own names.
Yep.
So okay. Cool.
And so that was really the start of my entrepreneurial journey. I had a great childhood growing up in Alpharetta, graduated Milton High 2001, and then moved on to University of Georgia.
And you're a alumni of the Dogs.
Yep, go Dogs.
Man, did you watch the national championship game?
I did. I was there. Great game until the last second. But
that was the second time I celebrated too early. One was the Falcons, and then I was like, at least we get the college championship. But, man, that last play, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was slow motion.
Yeah. I mean, I really thought we had it too, but.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you were growing up, you saw your parents start their own businesses.
Yep.
Did you start, like, any lemonade stands, do any paper routes when you were young, or like?
I did. Like I said, parents had their business and were very supportive of me having businesses along the way. So my first business was I'd go around door to door and rake yards for $5 a yard, and learned a lot with that business. Know what you're getting into. I think the first yard I did, I said I'll rake your yard for $5, and he agreed and opened up his back door to a 5-acre lawn. So
that was probably the best deal you ever got.
Three days later, I raked his yard and got the $5, but I completed what I agreed to, and he told me, let this be a lesson to know what you're getting into on the front end. So that was a big wake up call for me in my first business. And
so that was your first business.
That was
grass cutting.
Raking lawns first, and then when I was old enough to mow a lawn, I started the lawn business.
What about in college? Did you do anything? Side hustles.
In college, I had a failed gumball machine business.
What's that about?
So I figured out the margins on gumballs,
and
that excited me. So I was I put a gumball machine in my fraternity house, And that was a lesson I learned, that don't trust a bunch of college kids to not break your gumball machine in the middle of the night when they want some gum and don't have a quarter. So,
So what's the margin on a gumball?
oh, it's crazy. You can be in business for less than $100. The machine and the gumballs, and then from there, you make a quarter a pop.
And like per machine, what is like the profit, or like I'm just kind of curious.
It's a function of volume and all that, but a gumball is pennies, and
Wow.
you're selling them for a quarter.
So then, after college, did you get into like the corporate world? What'd you do like when you graduated?
So I was weird kid. I would say that in middle school I knew I wanted to open a restaurant. So
Okay.
in middle school it was going to be a bar in the Virgin Islands, a restaurant bar, because I love the beach.
Nice.
I loved that setting. So I'd always kind of dreamed of opening a restaurant. So throughout high school and college, I worked for other restaurants, trying to learn from other people. And when I graduated UGA, I knew I wanted to open a franchise specifically, and a fast casual franchise. So
Were you a chef or?
I wasn't a chef, but because I got into cooking and a love for cooking, a passion for cooking, because at a young age when my parents were working, I just tried to help out in the kitchen, help put meals on the table for the family.
Yeah.
And so I really just at an early age fell in love with cooking, and that's
Nice.
what gravitated me towards what I'm doing today.
Yeah, my wife had a similar, I say dream. She was like, you know what, we should open up a smoothie stand in Thailand.
There you
And
go.
it was a great idea, but it's still out there. It might happen one day.
Do it.
But did you ever execute that one?
Not
Or-
yet.
Okay.
That's maybe another retirement plan. But
So like after that, at any time did you work a 9 to 5 like under someone, or did you kind of like always?
I did. I tried to work in a bunch of different fields and areas to make sure opening a restaurant was what I
Okay.
wanted to do. So in college, I interned with a more traditional marketing
Yeah.
agency,
Okay.
because I wanted to know what working at a desk felt like. I didn't enjoy that experience.
Right. Yeah. of course.
And then after I graduated college, I knew that I needed to work for other people to learn more and get more experience. So I had a fairly traditional kind of 9 to 5 job right when I graduated, helping develop a brand.
Okay.
And then when we opened that location, I was the acting GM, so I was back in the restaurant after that. So
Okay.
I did experience that kind of 9 to 5 feeling.
Right. Right. When you had the idea of, well, actually, you know what? Tell me, because you got 54 locations across the U.S., right? That you did that over 10 years, but the very first one, like, let's backtrack when you actually just had the idea. Like, how'd you even come up with this concept? Where were you? What were you doing? And then how'd you create your first store?
Sure. So I had the idea for Your Pie a little bit after college, working in Atlanta for other brands. I had seen where fast casual, the category fast casual, you may not know what fast casual is, but it's our
What's the example
style.
of
So,
fast casual restaurant?
most people know what Chipotle is,
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah.
the sub shops that you see, or the burgers type places. So I had kind of grown up seeing the sub category grow really rapidly and see that trend happen, and then I saw the better burger and the burrito concepts coming out.
The Moe's and the
Yep.
Willie's and
Moe's, Willie's, Barbaritas, and then so what in my mind I was like, well, what's the next thing gonna be? Because I didn't want to open a concept to compete with these already entrenched brands,
right.
and so a few things happened. One, I thought pizza would be a good idea because pizza hadn't been done in the space. And two, I married my high school sweetheart, Natalie,
Okay.
and we were on our honeymoon in Italy. And so her family is from the island of Ischia. It's an
Okay.
island off the coast of Naples.
Oh,
And we were
cool.
over there fresh out of college. We were 22 on our honeymoon. And we really got to experience the brick ovens and the Italian culture, and really that food first and family mentality that that is ingrained in the Italian culture. So really that's where the light bulb went off for Your Pie, was when we were on our honeymoon. We had ideas flowing and we're drawing stuff out on napkins at restaurants and just really got excited about doing Your Pie.
So you guys were, like, at the time, did you, like, how, okay, you know you wanted to make pizza, but, like, the concept for Your Pie, because I've been in there several times, it's, the quality is great, but you're also cranking it out. Like, you know, it's like almost Chick-fil-A. You know how many people they serve so quickly? Because most people think when you go to a pizza place, it's going to take time to make, right? But it's not. That's not the case. So when you had the idea, did you know that piece at the time, or you just knew you wanted to do a pizza restaurant?
No, so we wanted to do the best pizza in the world, but at a price point that everybody could afford and at a speed that could allow us to be successful at lunch and at dinner. So we knew that pizza had been done. Let's be honest. Pizza's been done, but we wanted to be different than any other pizza place. So we called it Your Pie. We only do the personal size pizzas. The whole idea is that you get exactly what you want.
Right.
You don't have to have that argument over if you want jalapenos or mushrooms or, you know, pepperoni, pepperoni. You end up with a cheese pizza at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so we just really wanted to create an environment where anybody could come in and get what they want. That's why we have the gluten-free dough. We have vegan cheese. We have hundreds of toppings for people to choose from.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys got back from Italy, and you were living in Athens or Atlanta at the time?
We were living in Atlanta.
Okay.
We decided to make a move back to Athens. We wanted to live out our dream of opening Your Pie, as well as Natalie to go to vet school. So Natalie's a doctor and a veterinarian, and we knew that in Athens we could both live out our dreams of doing those two things.
I mean, I think that's a awesome location too, because you got UGA, but 30,000 plus students as well. And then let's talk about, like, you got there, and did you have a blueprint for it? Like, you know, did you raise money to get the first business off the ground? How did you bring it to life?
Sure. I had, when you say a blueprint, I had a business plan. Yes, I had my idea written out, you know, on a piece of paper. But until you really get into something, you know, there's so many things that happen along the way. So I had this, what I thought was a great idea. Had this passion about doing it. Took that business plan to the local bank, and they looked at it and said, "You want to do what? You're how old? You've had how many?"
How old were you?
I was 23 when I was approached the bank, and so they kind of laughed at me, or they didn't kind of, they laughed at me, and so, but I still knew it was a good idea. Still thought we should push forward. So I actually was lucky enough to take that business plan to my parents. And they said, "Yeah, let's do it." They loaned me the money to get the first store going, and I guess the rest isn't history. We can talk about what happened next. But so for the first location, we barely got open with barely enough money, and but it was an exciting time.
That's awesome. And that one, the original one, is in Athens. So once you brought that to life, people, because I've been to it once years ago, but I thought, you know, instantly the idea and the format was genius. At that time, was there any other competitors, like, or were you the first one to do this type of concept?
No, we invented fast casual pizza, but again, there was other pizza places. At that time, I could throw a rock and hit probably 5 pizza places. And so we knew we had to be different. We knew we had to be better. The other cool thing that happened to us was we opened up in the recession. So some people might say that, how's that cool?
08, 09.
We opened in 08, April of 08. We're about to be 10. And the reason that was cool and a benefit is I didn't know any different. So I had to make it work with. And other pizza places didn't know how to react to food costs were going up and sales were going down. So a lot of the pizza places around us went out of business. We were thriving. And that was how we were able to grow. in a short period of time.
And then, while you're operating, you're like in full mode. Your first location, what challenges did you have? Did you have any failures along the way? What'd you learn trying to get this first one off the ground?
So I mean, with any business that you launch, obviously you wouldn't do it if you didn't think it was a great idea and if you didn't think it was going to be successful.
Right.
But nobody else is going to care as much as you. So one of the biggest challenges really from the beginning is how do you sell yourself? How do you sell the dream? How do you attract other people to kind of come along with the dream? So really from day one, obviously the bank didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't sell to the bank. Luckily, my family was supportive. They supported the dream. But after that, I had to really attract vendors to take a risk. I had to get a landlord to take a risk on a mom and pop, for lack of a better term, pizza place. I had to attract a team that was taking a risk and leaving their current job to come work for this new pizza place where they didn't know if they would get a paycheck. So really that's was the first challenge, was how do you sell this dream, this idea, and attract people to want to come along for the ride. So that was really the first step, and then from there, it's just a lot of work to try and get the systems in place and the model right.
When did you decide? Did you know even before you built the first one that you wanted to franchise it, or this was going to be your one and only store? How'd you make that decision?
I always wanted to be a franchise. I wanted Your Pie to be a franchise for a few different reasons. The first reason was I already told you I had to take out a loan for the first store. I didn't have this huge sum of money to go out and open up a bunch of Your Pies. So franchising allows you to give a model to local owners and let them follow the model and live out their dream of local ownership. And we love franchising because that local ownership is vital to our success. We know that we can't run a store as well as people in their local market that have invested their time and energy into it.
I've always been curious because 54 locations is a lot, right? But to get to your second store, how were you attracting people that actually wanted to buy your franchise? How did you find that second person and the third person and the fourth person? Did you have a marketing plan, or were these people that just believed in the concept and you kind of rolled it out?
Yeah, early on in our evolution, it was very organic growth.
Okay.
Very word of mouth. I did the second store. I was able to take the P&Ls from that first store and go back to that bank that turned me down the first time.
I'm back.
and they gave me a loan for store number 2.
I would believe you this time.
So that's how we grew to number 2. But after that, with the franchise model, it was literally, we were giving a great product and a great experience, and people would come in and say, "Hey, I think this would be cool in my town. Is this a franchise?" And so that's how we, from an early age, grew. We have some fun stories with some of our original franchisees. Paul and Michael Childers were driving up to go to the Masters. I think they stopped in Athens to kind of meet with me on the back deck of one of the stores, and we kind of both had a handshake deal that, hey, we're not perfect, and we're gonna try and learn how to get better together. And fast forward to today, they just opened their third location, and they've been paramount in helping Your Pie evolve to a better spot than we were 10 years ago. So early on, just very organic, very like I said, just trying to make sure each experience was a great one, and that's how we grew.
Are you able to talk about the details of how to acquire a location or a franchise? What it would cost or anything like that? Or
our model has evolved over time. The first location was 1,600 square feet, inline, shopping center space. We've evolved to a little bit bigger footprint, in between 24 and 3,000 square feet. But we have about a $400,000 to $500,000 cost to get a location open.
Okay.
And you can go to yourpie.com. We have a tab right there to kind of learn more.
Awesome.
We got a lot of detail there.
How do you market your pie? Like, okay, you got 54 locations, but like, do you have like a corporate wide marketing strategy for all your franchisees? Do you have like campaigns that you put out, or it's just kind of like, well, I guess word of mouth almost type deal?
Yeah. So the best thing we do is word of mouth. Like I said, in
Okay.
2008. There wasn't a lot of social media. It was just the
Yeah.
very beginning of that. So I was in the Yellow Pages in 2008. Nobody knows what the Yellow Pages are anymore. But
Right.
we now it's more social media word of mouth. But we rely heavily on people coming in, having a great experience, and going out and telling their friends and family. So that step one is we've got to be great in the store with the experience, which means we make a great pizza, we make the experience a great one, and from there, the marketing is easier, I should say.
Yeah.
So we do have a national calendar with about 10 events each year that everybody participates in. Our biggest one coming up, Pi Day. We celebrate the number pi, 3.14 on March 14th.
And
We
this is
sell-
an event you have?
It is.
Where
yes.
is it at?
It's all stores. It's our
Okay.
biggest day
Oh,
of the
okay.
year.
Yeah.
We sell our pizzas for $3.14. We throw a big party for everybody.
It's a great concept.
This year's a fun one because we just launched a pizza into space to promote
How?
it. You go to the video. No, we put it on a weather balloon
Yeah.
and literally just put a pizza into space. And funny enough, Tesla launched a car into space.
Yeah, I saw that.
About a week before we did it before them, but the video launched a week after. But we're joking that we're sending a pizza to the Tesla.
That's awesome.
Driver.
So building this massive brand franchise obviously didn't take you working 8 hours a day, right? So can you break down the actual hustle, the grind, like in the beginning days, right? So you got the idea, you got the money, you're building up the first store. Now, how many hours a day are you working to make this thing successful, like, and to scale it?
Yeah.
You know, what was your daily schedule like?
For the first store, I was literally there open to close. For
And that's 7 days a week, right? Like,
yeah, we
no
were
Sundays off.
7 days a week. I even was doing late night in the beginning.
Mhm.
So my longest day was 20 hours. My shortest day was 16 hours.
Yeah.
And get up and do it again the next day. But I didn't have.
But you loved it.
I did.
Yeah.
And luckily we I guess we lucked out. Natalie was going through vet school. She was having a much bigger grind with the studying, and so we were able to focus on the grind. And but what I learned very early on too, and it was it ended with me being in the emergency room for working too much.
What happened?
I was we were delivering pizzas early on scooters, and I'd been at the tail end of a 100-hour work week. I was delivering a pizza, kind of spaced
You fell
out,
asleep?
and rolled it, wiped out, and that was kind of the event that made me realize I need to get some systems in place and get some people to help me. I need to let go a little bit.
Yeah, you were on a scooter.
I was.
So did you have a helmet?
I did.
Okay, but obviously, like...
Yeah, you probably...
Yeah.
There's the scar. There's one of the
Right.
scars, but no, that was the event that made me realize that you can put in 100-hour weeks over a certain amount of time, but it's not a sustainable model.
Right.
You got to figure out a way to get your model in place and let other people help you with that.
You probably get burnt out as well.
Yeah,
Right.
you can.
Just to kind of get to know you a little bit, what's your favorite restaurant?
Besides your pie?
Yeah, besides your pie.
Oh my gosh. Athens is a great restaurant scene.
Yeah.
A lot of great restaurateurs doing some really cool things. I guess if we had one place to go, we'd probably go to Sea Bear. It's a newish restaurant in Athens. Peter Dale and some other guys did it.
Okay.
But yeah, they do a great job. It's just a laid back, good atmosphere.
Nice. What kind of food is it?
It's oysters and
Seafood.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I
but
love
it's an oyster bar.
Who are 3 people that inspire you?
3 people. my parents inspire me because they helped pave the way for my journey and always gave me confidence to go out and take risks, and always just knew that we could make it happen, make it work. So they've always inspired me, that the risk they took and kind of showed me the way. Lately, Kirby Smart has been inspiring me with
I gotta give it to him.
yeah, he's one you should interview.
Do you know
he's
him?
got the grind going.
If you know him, please connect me.
No, after the signing day they just had, I went and heard him talking. He kind of inspired me because we joke around at Your Pie, and he said this. He's like, "There's time to sleep when you die." Basically,
right.
like, get the job done, and it'll pay
Absolutely.
off, and then we'll sleep later, kind of mentality. So that was kind of cool to hear coming from a guy competing at a high level. I really like Seth Godin's blog.
Okay.
From a marketing standpoint, just from a mentality of how to do things the right way.
Absolutely.
That's one that every day I kind of read.
I know a lot of people that even took his MBA course or whatnot. For Seth Godin. What's your source of motivation or inspiration? Because I'm sure, like, it doesn't matter. Like, obviously, like, you love what you do, but there's dark days too.
Yeah.
Right? How do you stay motivated through these times? Like, what inspires you?
What inspires me? I mean, my family, my wife and 2 daughters. Every day, I'm here now and I'm not with them, but I know that there's a reason for that and an end goal that we're gonna make a better life for our family, and really for what we call the Your Pie family. It's everybody that is touched by Your Pie in some way, and so what gets me up every day is to try and make Your Pie better for all involved, so that we can all kind of have a better life together. So I'm really inspired by a lot of people that are passionate about what they do, whether that's they're in a band or they own a franchise or whatever it is. I really like to surround myself with people that are inspired to do great things.
Absolutely. This is part of the show. Like, I want you to give like your best words of wisdom. In your journey, like, it's everybody has a different journey, an entrepreneur journey, right? And you're in the restaurant space, but a lot of the things you've done can relate to a lot of different industries. So, from everything that you've learned so far, like, what's your best piece of advice you can give to other aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be creating value no matter what. Like, no matter how big you get, you've got to still think small. You got to think back to that first customer. Think of the amount of work you put in to get that first sale, or that first customer to buy in, or that first team member that wanted to come, give up their weekend to come work with you. So I think what happens is people grow and you kind of lose sight of what got you there and the things that mattered. And really, it doesn't matter how big you get. For us, we might have thousands of locations one day, but the individual location, the local location, is all that matters. If we can do well in that individual location, we know that we'll grow.
What's next for Your Pie? You have more expansion, more areas to reach. Anything new you want to do with the franchise?
Yeah, we're always trying to improve the brand, and we are in the process of that now. Yeah. We're about to be 10 years old, so it's just a cool milestone to, year 10. It's a good time to reflect on the past, but what excites me is not necessarily what we've done, but where we're going as a brand. And so we'll open up around 20 locations this year, so an exciting year in that regard.
You're going to be over 70 nationwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really what we're focused on is not about what we've done in the past, but how do we get better for the future? How do we help stores serve their customers better, serve their team better? Because that's really all that matters, is how do we make the experience better, make the food better, make the team member experience better. If we can do those three things, we're going to continue to exist and thrive.
Last question. What type of legacy do you want to leave behind, and how do you want people to remember you as?
That's a good tough question. I don't know. I really just, all I care about is that maybe people choose to follow their passions, that they take risks. I think the world needs people to do that for each other. You know, I think that having people that are passionate about what they're doing is what drives this world. Because if everybody is unhappy with what they're doing or has a negative, you know, outlook on something, that's not good for anybody. So just try and go find something that inspires you, that you're passionate about, that you can create value for this world. So I really just hope that looking back, people feel like that we've created value and that we've done great things for the communities that we've served.
I think you did. I love your pie. Been there several times, and you know, like I said, the one down in Dunwoody is my location.
Yeah.
So, but Drew, thank you for your time.
All right, man.
Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You can go to our Facebook page for our future and past episodes.